Good evening, everyone. I just want to get two things out of the way really quickly. Number one, I am not going to sing. Okay? Okay, fair. Number two, Kendrick, I did not practice my remarks. Okay? I have no words prepared because I just wanted to walk down here and experience this and just speak to you graduates, specifically from the heart. Let me start first by saying President Jones and Board of Directors, to our community partners, who I see a few that I know in the back, and my favorite aerospace company besides my own, Boeing, thank you very much for your support of this program. If I could be real graduates with you, as mentioned, now my bio is predominantly made up. But the one thing that is definitely true is I have 3 little kids, and it keeps me very busy. And my daughter was going to a basketball game tonight. My youngest had football practice. My middle child was off to soccer. And I didn't know, actually, that I was going to be here this evening. And so I had committed to my wife that I was going to do the kid Uber this evening. And then I said, oh, rats, I'm going down to speak at a ceremony. But when I walked in here, there's nowhere else I'd rather be tonight. I'm very proud of you. And I mean that. Let me tell you why. I actually should have been a statistic. I was raised by a single mom who gave birth to my older sister at a very young age. And my sister and I were the first to go to college. Now, my mom worked 3 jobs, but one in particular, her 3rd job, she only worked on the weekends. She was a waitress at our municipal airport. And I would go with her on Saturdays. And this is back when you could actually go right to the gate in an airport. And I would just sit in the observation tower as a little kid. And I would just watch airplanes take off. And I would watch people, business people, and families coming and going. And I just fell in love with airplanes and fell in love with flying and fell in love with the idea of going somewhere. Now, I didn't have money to go to college if it weren't for a woman in my mom's Bible study, my senior year of high school, who gave my mom an $8,500 check and said, send your son to college. And one of the best things I ever got to do, about 15 years later, was write. Now, I didn't give her interest, so to be fair, she didn't get as good a deal as she could have. But I wrote her that $8,500 check back. And I said, thank you for investing in me. I wouldn't be here today before you if it wasn't for education. I wholly believe that. I would not be standing for you. And for a mom who loved me no matter what. In fact, the first B I ever got was when I was 9. Now, this is a little bit of a humble brag, I'm not going to lie. First B I ever got was when I was 19. Came home my freshman year from the University of Pittsburgh, and I got a B. First B. And my mom grounded me. That's embarrassing, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. 19 years old, having to tell your friends when you're home from college, I'm grounded because I got a B. But I think about those opportunities, and more importantly, 2 things. God always placed someone in my life who believed in me and was willing to invest in me. And so I want you to look around the room, graduates, for a moment, and I bet you can identify some of those people that you would say the same thing about. Now, years later, not only did I get to join the Air Force, but the Air Force let me fly airplanes. And I got to be on 5 continents. I flew in 3 major combat operations, more than 2,000 hours, and a pretty cool airplane, right, Boeing? It's a pretty cool airplane, right? And when I got out of the Air Force, my commander in the Air Force hired me at Boeing. So I went from a little kid whose mom had to work a 3rd job, and I would hang out with her at the airport, every Saturday, to someone who got to be an executive at Boeing and eventually start my own aerospace company. All because two things. God always placed people in my life that believed in me, and education. I really believe that. Now, there's a word that floats around education circles. It's called resiliency. And there's an entire line of scientific thought that thinks when it comes down to how you measure whether a student is going to be successful, it's simply about resiliency. It's not about a test score. It's not about you memorizing the book or your content knowledge, though that certainly is important. But it is literally what scientists are trying to figure out how to measure, because it is the number one characteristic they have found in now 2 decades of study of successful graduates at any level is resiliency. And when I look in your faces, and I don't know your stories, but when I look in your faces, I see resiliency. And I want you to remember, Matt, and I want to close with this. I want to close with Matthew chapter 25. Some of you might know it. It's called the parable of the talents. And in it, there's a master who has a lot of wealth. And he has 3 servants. And he says, I want to give my servants what is called in the Bible talent. But when it's translated in the Greek that it was originally written in, it actually, the word literally translates to aptitude or skill. But in the parable, the servants are given talents. The first servant is given 5 talents, and he invests it, and he doubles it. The second servant is given 2 talents, and he invests it, and he too doubles it. And the third servant is also given 2 talents, but the third servant is afraid, and so he hides it. He digs a hole, and he hides it in the ground. And when the master returns, he says, "What have you done with your talents?" And the first servant says, "I have doubled my talents, master." The second servant says, "Master, I've doubled my talents." And the third says, "I was fearful that you would punish me if I wasted my talents. And so I hid it in the ground." And the parable goes on to say that the third servant was punished. I close with that story because you all have talents, aptitude, and skill. Some of you may just be beginning the journey of discovering what those are. Some of you may be a little further in that progression. But you all have the ability to take your talents and rather than hide them in the ground out of fear, to use them not only for yourself or to double your investments, so that's a wonderful thing, but to bless and serve others, which is, I think, the highest calling for us to do with our talents, is to not keep them hidden, but to turn around and bless others with our God-given talents, our aptitude, and our skill. So that's my challenge to you this evening. First, when you walk out of here, and you probably have, but I'm going to ask you to do it again. I am also a senator, so I could raise your taxes. So I'm just going to ask you, okay, to do what I'm asking you to do, okay? I want you to find someone who has blessed you with their talents and tell them thank you. And then I want you to commit that you will now return that favor to somebody else in the future. Let this be the beginning, not the end of a journey of you using your talents, but simply the beginning. So let me again say, graduates, I am so proud of you. And I can't think of anywhere else that I would rather be this evening than saying congratulations to all of you. God bless all of you. Thank you very much.
Oh, please give Senator Pugh another hand. How wonderful is that? It's good to be reminded that we didn't just get here on our own. There are a couple of people I wanted to save, but just before we presented the graduating class. Sheila, Deshawn, Grant, Kima. Where are you sitting? These are our friends. Would you please stand? These are our friends from EOC Trio. Now, all of you may not quite understand that when a person is getting their high school equivalency diploma, it's actually not one test. It's 5 tests that are broken down by subject matter. Each one of those, they have to pass each one of the 5 tests and then have some extra points above just passing in order to be awarded their high school equivalency diploma. Each of those separate tests costs money. Our friends at EOC Trio believe in what we're doing so much. They provide vouchers for us. They provide education and training and career exposure, college and career tech exposure for our students. They co-labor with us in the building to make sure that not only are we doing education and training and inspiration, but we're also preparing our students for what is next. We couldn't do it without you, and I want to tell you thank you. And we also have another member of our staff, but he's a volunteer. He won't take any money. Know that I've tried to give him some money. He won't take any money. But a master educator from Cassidy Schools who has been, what is it, Tom, 15 year? 12 year, thank you, 12-year volunteer with us. And the teacher of social studies, please show love to one Tom Zabel. Did I miss any partners in the room? OCCC? Oklahoma City Community College, where you at? Where you at? Ah, there you are. Our friends at OCCC come over to expose our students because we accept, once they come to OIC, your diploma is assured. Let's talk about what's next. And so now I'm not going to make you wait any longer. It is time for the presentation of our fall class of 2025.